Now we'll move on to business from the City Council. Council reports. Mr. Cleveland.
Thank you very much. I know that we had Gil Sizer. A lot of the committees and boards were on recess or very short, and starting this month, they're going to start getting back out of the vacation mode of that. But Gil Sizer was talking about revetment blocks, and a lot of the public don't know what Gil Sizer slew, how important that really is to the drainage of our community. And inside of there, their capacity has been limited at times in certain areas. And by putting these special interlocking blocks in there, they can widen the slough, make the slopes steeper, and it'll avoid erosion from fast-moving currents and stuff when it's flowing through. So that's been going on, and we got a beautiful report. Some of us have been on Gil Sizer off and on for quite a few years, and hopefully we'll get a lot more done like that. But that's one of the things always going on every year, and it's definitely helping alleviate some possible flooding in the future. National Night Out, man, what a busy night that was. 8 locations I visited. Some might have visited more. They started at 4:30. Some senior citizen areas where they say they're going to be going. They don't open their doors after 6:30 or 7, so they started at 4:30. And some of the areas where they had kids, they started at 5:30, and then of course we went into our official 6 o'clock run around with the officers and the fire, and had an enjoyable night. Citizens were very open with their commenting on their needs and concerns. Some of them were, a little different than I would have expected, but they were voiced, and many of them we were able to actually take care of very quickly. They were just cleanup of something, or just even part of the discussion. So many of the concerns were already able to be taken care of with just simple process from our staff. But that was a very enjoyable night. A lot of running around, and enjoyed meeting many of the people and their comments. They were excellent.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Didball.
All right, and let's see. We had a community leaders breakfast with Assemblymember Gallagher and Senator Nielsen, and that was a really nice event where we were able to share some of the issues and concerns that we have, things that we're working on. And the neat part was that as we all spoke, there were a lot of similarities. Areas, instead of working in silos, we probably should consider working together, probably benefit all of us in the entire region. So it was an eye-opener in that sense, but it was a great event to have all of the community leaders in this area together in one room. National Night Out, great evening. I can't even remember how many we visited. Some of the locations were a lot of the farm workers, so by the time we got there, oh, we're done. So we got to go to bed. We got to be up early. And some of the locations brought up comments as earlier, the lighting, very dark, safety. How can we make our neighborhoods more safe, so forth. But great feedback from the communities. Also involved in the with the school season starting, clothes for kids. I teamed up with Sutter Yuba Association of Realtors, which I've done over the years. Had a little boy who was autistic and very scared to talk and uncomfortable at first. Didn't want anything to do with me or my daughter. By about the middle of it, he started opening up, and then he took every color in the Lego t-shirt. So he was a happy camper by the end. We also, as family and friends, got together because I got a phone call from the Western Farm Workers Association indicating that they were short of backpacks for the little children of farm workers. So we went ahead and collected over 40 backpacks and school supplies, and I was able to deliver those over. So we had some happy kids. And every child got a backpack to go back to school. So we were happy about that. As an announcement, a public service announcement, I'd like to go ahead and announce that spearheading community forums. We have an upcoming forum coming September 2nd, 6 to 8 at River Valley High School, and it's going to be talking about mental illness, as it is a concern in our community and will be on the rise if it hasn't already. We're going to be talking, I have a guest speaker that's coming in that's going to talk about peer programs at our schools to help children have other kids to talk to. And we also have a teenager who's going to actually come in and talk about her own bout with anxiety, suicide, and so forth, and how she ended up getting some help. These community forums are to bring awareness and to educate the community. It's not to, just go out and talk and put a bunch of people in the room, or it's really to bring awareness. The last community forum was back in April, and we talked about e-cigarettes and vaping and all other drugs that throughout the forum came up, and the amount of feedback that we got was amazing, and the education that went out, people were very, very shocked, and we had close to 200 people that attended, and hope to have the same, if not more, for this one. And the community forums will take place quarterly, hopefully, with various topics, and if not, repeat topics that are very, very, very important to this community. So please spread the word. Again, that's September 2nd. It's a Wednesday night, 6 to 8. We will have food served because it is dinner time, and the topic is very, very important, mental illness. So please mark your calendars.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Gill.
Sure. We did have the City Beach Flood Agency Finance Committee meeting, and the project is moving along pretty good. With all of the burial issues that we had with the Indians, I think we were slightly over budget for that particular area, about $7.5 million. But I think as an overall realm, as far as a project, we still strongly feel that we're going to come under budget. So Mike Amini's done a fantastic job as far as trying to keep the project moving. I know we keep hearing about this mega El Nino, so we want to make sure that the levees are up to par and can stand this 100-year, 200-year rains that we're going to get, and at least we know this time around that the dams and lakes are pretty empty, so we can store that compared to last time. I think we were almost 70% when the Pineapple Express came. So it's a far different deal from now. So there's a lot of different weather patterns. It's interesting to see that. Some are showing Fresno south, and some are showing Sacramento south, so the north is still going to be dry. So it'll be interesting to see actually by the time it's all said and done. And like I was telling somebody today at lunch, and I said if they were that accurate, I'm sure they can predict a lot of numbers and be all retired by now. So that won't happen. I was not able to make the Cedar Buttes Flood Control meeting. I was out of town on a banking conference, but I'm sure the mayor was there and was able to fill us in here shortly on that one. The National Night Out, again, 6 different neighborhoods, and I do want to thank and commend the Yuba City Police Department as well as our fire department, because I think we lose focus. It's great for us to go out and visit with the citizens, learn some of the issues, but I think the main purpose of National Night Out is to get the neighborhoods friendly with the police and the fire, and so that there's trust and camaraderie built there. And I think all the stops we made, we had kids coming in and out of police cars, wanting to sit in the back of them, wanting to sit in the front, they wanted to climb the fire trucks, and so there's that trust being built. So kudos to both of the agencies that were there.
All right,
that's all I've got.
Vice Mayor Buckman.
So you're going to forgive me this time again?
No, not this time.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to beat up National Night Out. It's a great event. It was beat up the fact that we were all out there and went to like 16 different things, and we rode in the back of cop cars, and they put handcuffs on us and all the other things. I don't think that happened at all. But anyway, great event. The bands playing out in the middle of the street. The interaction with the citizens is amazing. And Mr. Klinkenbeard, who spoke earlier tonight, was one of those that he had a very compelling story out there, especially as we stood there and it got darker and darker and realized that there were no streetlights in the immediate area. Before it got fully dark, it was time for me to get back in the car and leave the area. But he has a compelling story, and I think it's something that you can only find out when you're out and spending time with the citizens and looking specific neighborhoods. Yuba Center Fair, great event. Went to a chamber ribbon cutting at Yuba Center Fair. If you haven't been there in a couple of years or participated in the livestock auction, it's a tremendous opportunity to support our youth, not only financially but also them seeing a number of community members there and bidding on the animals. It helps, and you can always drive up the price when you know somebody's committed to a purchase of a said animal
Or pie.
or pie.
Yes.
But Cherie Stevens' son Sam sold a pig for another record price this year. But I won't tell you that it was her cousin that bought it. But he was committed. So what can I say? He was going to have to pay for that commitment. But Yuba Center Fair has changed. There's a lot of quality that goes into the planning, and certainly is coming back as one of those marquee community events. Also attended the SACOG Government Relations and Public Affairs Committee meeting. The only thing I'm going to bring to you out of that is, as many of you know, the governor he ordered a special session of the legislative body, and SB 16, which I've spoke about a number of times, increases our fuel taxes here in California to pay for transportation. There's no doubt about it, the transportation in California, the roadway, the infrastructure that we currently have has been depleted of value, that we have a number of pieces that need repairing, and that's really all over the state. There's great support for SB 16 when it was coming up during regular session. Did not pass and make it through, and they have brought this thing back as SB X1-1. It almost doubles in some categories what those taxes would be. Diesel fuel tax will go up to 22 cents. That will affect goods and services that all of us rely on. We're in a rural community, and as this thing proceeds through, kind of think about how you might want to reach out to your local legislator to voice your opinion on some of this. There's just a number of pieces to this, and some of this funding, or the majority of some of the funding, will be going to Southern California to really deal with the goods movement programs down around the ports and through our rail systems. We won't see a lot of that money up here in Northern California. But again, just knowing that as fuel prices go down, there's a good possibility coming up you're going to be paying on an ongoing basis with no sunset. SB 16 first came on as a 5-year bill. This one would have no sunset date on it. That these increases, when you have places like Recology, who they burn diesel, everybody, a lot of the trucking industries, all costs will go up associated with that. So again, there's a need. There's a need to work on our infrastructure, and certainly we need to find viable methods in which we can fund those repairs. I'm not fully convinced that everything in the special session bill is what we need, as it, I think, will affect greatly the rural communities more than it will the high urbanized communities. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll just touch on a few of these that have already been touched on tonight. Obviously, National Night Out, Sutter Buttes Flood Control Finance Meeting, and then the normal meeting. We are moving ahead with the project, and we're hoping to finish all but about 6 miles of the project this season. We started June 29th is when we actually started construction, about 2.5 months late because of cultural issues, working with the Corps and so on. But we're looking to get all of it done except for about 6 miles this year, and then we'll finish that up next year, and hopefully the the floods will be kind to us this year and won't hit those 6 miles, right? But just as a point of clarification on where those 6 miles are, they're at the very north end of the project, and probably the levees are no higher than this dais here. So it's not that those are the probably we have repaired most of the dangerous areas in our system, so we're actually in still pretty good shape. So had the Feather River Air Quality Management District meeting. Nothing really to report out of that one. Yuba City mosquito vector. Just kind of an update on where we're at in the state. There are 18 cases of West Nile virus in the state. There's one in Sutter County, one in Yuba County, and there's actually a couple more that haven't fully made it through the accounting process yet. Butte County, just north of us, has 6 cases, and Glenn County has 4 cases. So just to the north of us, there's been quite an outbreak of West Nile this year. We had just a couple blocks from here over on Honor Oak just last week. Dead birds were tested and were positive for West Nile. So when you're out in the evenings, make sure that you use repellent or wear long sleeves and that type of thing to protect yourself. West Nile is very serious, and we need to, it only takes that one mosquito bite that has that to transmit that to you. So don't think it can't happen to you. Went to the North State breakfast with Councilmember Buckland, and I think Preet was there. I think were you there? You weren't there, but and I wanted to let you know that after you left, that we held a vote to see who spoke the longest during that meeting, and you won. So just wanted to pass that on since you weren't there to be a part of the vote. And then I also helped with the Realtors Association taking a young man out to buy school clothes and helping families that are in need, and it's a great program in our community, and I believe they helped 100 and almost 200 children in our community to be able to go out and buy and help get school clothes. Also attended the Yuba City Fair. I'm not going to go into all that. Mr. Buckland talked about that.
Gravitron. I was disappointed.
Well, I didn't see you on it either, but this week the Turf for Cash program was introduced by the state, and I will encourage you to, if you're interested in doing that, and this is not the Cash for Grass program, but it's to exchange out turf and put in drought-resistant plantings, and I'm going to get if I can get it here real quick, the website that you can go to. It's saveourwaterrebates.com. If you go to that website, you can get up to $2,000 in rebates back on improvements you do to your lawn or turf and replace it with drought resistant or with artificial turf. So check that out. I will tell you there was $24 million in the state that was allocated for this project. 12 million of that is for San Joaquin County, and the balance goes to the rest of the state. So this money is going to go very fast. So if this is something you're interested in doing, you better jump on it right away. So, and with that, I believe that's all I have to report. And oh, we have a pie to auction off here, so we can't close the meeting yet. So, what kind of pie do we have, Terrell?
A good one.
That's a given. Oh, lullaberry. Oh. All right. So, what is your pleasure? Should we auction it off as one pie, or should we auction it off by the slice?
Well, I believe Spencer already had a $100 bid, and if I heard correctly,
one pie. Okay.
So was that correct?
All right.
No.
Well, let's open the bidding at $50. Who's going to bid $50? Executive team bids $50. Okay, we've got $50. How about 75? We'll go 75. Come on, this is a good cause, Ben. 75. Okay, got 75. How about 100? Got 100? Well, I got 100. How about 125 then? 125. Okay, 150. Do I have 175? 175.
Oh, the council's got to go at least 175.
Yeah.
right?
All right.
Was it?
Sounds prettier though on Facebook. Why don't we just do it even
200 for the council.
even two?
All right, got 200 for the council. Do I have 225? 225 out here. And you're out. Oh.
I didn't get permission to spend any more than
Got 225. Do I have 250? 240?
It's not that much. It's not that
215? Did I hear you say 215? No.
much. There's 5 of us. There's 5 of us.
Yeah.
50, 50, 50, and 50.
All right. So that is. Are you making a bid? Go ahead.
Not a problem.
Let's go.
All right, 50 apiece. So that's 250. Do I have any more? All right.
Bring it on, Darren.
250. All right. Do I hear 275?
Dividing it in 5.
Well, that'll be $35 for an extra slice. Yeah.
It's a penta.
All right. If I don't see any more bids, it's closed at $250. All right.
Penta cut. Only gonna get 5 pieces.